Hello, everybody. This is Drop In, Drop Out, the weekly podcast where a mix of 7 gamers come together for an open and engaging conversation all about video games. Today, we are talking about Doom and Gloom, boomer shooters and bad times. That's what we were getting into. And at the top of the show, instead of introducing my lovely cast, I need to talk a little bit about one of the lovely cast members that is not here with us on this planet Earth anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, everybody is alive and okay. Patrick, however, has been going through it. And if you do !tree in the chat live here tonight, or alternatively, if you're listening to this or watching this, go figure out, like an adult, how to look at the information for the podcast, whether it's in the description or otherwise. There is a GoFundMe set up for Patrick, aka P. Schwissy, aka our de facto leader here at Dido. If you're wondering why you're stuck with me as your podcast host for the last couple of weeks, not only on Spotlight, but also on Drop In, Drop Out, the reason is because P-Schwag has been dealing with a pretty nightmarish situation. A massive tree fell on his house, wrecking his car, his home, and his wife's car. Truly a nightmare situation. So he's very displaced and going through it. And there's an opportunity to help him out. A lot of money already raised. If you have the means to do so, I encourage you to check it out. And at the very least, if you're not going to spend any money, it is worth the click to see how wild the damage is and how big the tree is. It's a very impressive tree. So excellent work, Patrick. Let's hear it for Patrick, everybody. Let's hear it. Hey, round of applause. Very good, Patrick. So !tree, or look into the podcast notes or the video description for more details on how to help him. We'll post that around our socials tomorrow as the show is going live and whatnot as well. And our very own P-Schwag is already in chat today. Aww. I am also joined by so much of our cast for a very, very fun pair of conversations that are loosely related. Starting off with Cognitive Clips. Jordan, how are you?
I am good. I am orange cream Coke zeroed up. So, I mean, how can you go wrong? Really?
Cream team. Very nice. Kayla is here as well. Kayla, how is your evening so far?
It's going great. I've got my spicy water here. No brand mentioned, for free. And I'm ready to talk all things Doom, all things Gloom, how to turn that frown upside down today.
I love that. I love that. And I look down there and Jerica is smiling with no teeth showing. Tell us about your evening so far, Jerica. How are you doing?
And your teeth if you want.
They're good. The teeth are good. Probably the only thing on my body that's great right now. So we'll see how it goes by the end of the night. I'm starting it off with a Red Bull. And then I got a Pepsi and this fancy little Yeti koozie. Thanks to, Jake over there.
Squad.
He's my Pepsi.
Wow.
And then I got water.
Yes.
I'm what you call a drink goblin.
Free drink.
I got every drink I could need.
A person's quality is defined by the amount of drinks they have within reach to me. I love a variety, What can I say?
I have
last but certainly not least, our most recent subscriber to Drop In, Drop Out Pod, GWTMori, the Great Whittle Tang.
The Great Whittle Tang. What's up?
How are you doing tonight?
Oh, dude, I'm good. We're talking about drinks, so I guess I should grab mine. I'm double fisting water tonight.
Oh yeah,
double fisting. I work at a bar. I'm a bartender, so all I do all day is suck down Diet Coke, and so it's killing my body slowly. So when I get home, I try to get those water cups in, so I don't pass out and die in my sleep. So yeah.
Very nice.
Do you take the soda fountain thing and spray it in your mouth? Is that how you drink the Diet Coke?
I would get fired on the spot.
But that's only if he gets 5 subs in the first hour of his
yeah, that might be something. I'm joined by an already pop in chat. Sound off if you haven't said something already, because I'm about to read some names. We have some active people. High Score Weekly, Heroic Headgear, P-Schwag, The Dan Good Show, GWTMori with that big sub. We love to see it. I see our Daniel Can, aka our Zanny Canny. I see Breakstew is in here. Blaster Goblin, great to see you. Mr. The Human.
Wait. Sorry.
Sedina,
1 second.
Kayla Gray.
Did you say Blaster Goblin?
Go right ahead.
Like the world record holder for Tony Hawk Shred?
I mean, yeah.
That
Mr.
guy's in our
Goblin
chat?
hangs out with me. We hang out all the time.
Oh.
Dog. It's like my best friend. You know?
I know.
Hmm.
Can he hang out here?
Very
Is he not allowed?
nice.
Did you not hear what I was?
Let
Oh,
Mr. Goblin in.
I was fluffing him up for his
It
world
didn't
record.
sound like
for
it.
20
Sounds like you're coming after him.
No,
See?
All right.
in our chat.
I
Oh,
want
okay.
to loosen us up with a little bit of a let's call it an icebreaker. I want to stop using that word publicly, but that's what it is. Just to get the juices flowing, the conversation going. I want
juice getter.
everybody to go around. I'm going to call on you individually, and you tell me a word that reminds you of our Patrick.
Oh,
A word, just a single word. Can be a compound word.
Okay.
GWTMori, you seem the most upset by that. Give us your first word.
yeah. No, first, okay, because you got to give me more than one. But I'm
No,
gonna...
this is supposed to be like quick. This is like word association. I say Patrick, you say
girthy.
yep, perfect. Jerica.
Soothing.
Oh,
Ooh, Kayla.
Impressionable. Has a double meaning.
Ooh, Cog.
Charming.
I say Papa.
Ooh.
Mori.
Captain.
Ooh, Jerica.
Just because it was said the other night, sweet.
Mm.
Eat.
Sweet.
Kayla.
Ooh.
Ooh, just a sound. I love
Ooh.
that.
No, you know.
Oh,
God.
my God. Oh,
For
my God.
audio listeners, our very own Patrick has shown up on camera wearing what I believe
Are we
is
talking-
a Daisy outfit.
Are we talking Mario Kart tonight?
No.
Wrong week.
Oh.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Our
man.
very own Princess Daisy.
I heard
How
you
you doing
talking
there, buddy?
about me.
I'm
I'm
doing
doing.
some word association with you.
So that's Daisy. Maybe I won't get them confused anymore.
Yeah.
No,
Can
that's
we,
Now you
sweet.
know.
can we
Now I
hyphenate?
know.
Can we hyphenate
I
my
was-
answer? Ready to fuck.
Ready to
No.
fuck.
Wow.
Easy. Patrick, how you holding up over there?
God.
You know, life's fucking terrible and I hate living, but
Mhm.
we might have a place lined up to stay that's not this spare bedroom that has been very gracious. But yeah, it's all a mess. But hey, I'm
Yeah.
here. I got my
do
nice
you
little
feel?
camera up.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you're doing great as far as like a, stopgap setup here. The fact that we can
Sure.
hear you decently and see you pretty well is solid.
I mean,
And
Yellow
you're back
is,
here with your
is your
patented,
color, bud.
my dad's patented camera angle when he answers FaceTime. This is what he looks
Stop
like.
I love that
Very
you
good.
had the Daisy costume readily available in its trying time. That you're
Oh, for
going
sure.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't let anything take this from me. No, we were at our storage unit today looking for things, and I saw this and I was like, well, this is a bit. Yeah, I'm definitely popping in the stream tonight for probably 5 minutes.
Oh
Hey,
my
Patrick.
gosh.
While you're here, I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and just answer. Like, let's just pretend that Jake called on me again, because I was, even before you popped in here in your Daisy garb,
Mhm.
my next word association was going to be theater kid.
Whoa.
And if this is not the prime
Yo.
example,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is
it's right.
energy.
Jerica. Yeah.
Yeah, this is some TKE right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Patrick, what word would you use to describe yourself? You got to do one too.
Depressed.
Aww.
Well, this is the perfect episode for you to
This is
join.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, this
It's true.
episode's for you.
Traumatized.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
also, let's see, what is the word for this? I feel very loved by these
Aw.
5 people and also our community.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
What's the word for
Oh
that?
yeah.
Great.
Grateful.
No.
Yeah, we'll say grateful.
Gratuitous. I don't know.
I
We'll
was
say
thinking
grateful.
of something really disgusting or dirty, but yeah, grateful
Sure.
works.
Sure.
Something else.
I'm probably gonna leave, but I played like an hour and a half of Doom, and when you have a lot of anger, that game fucking hits, dude.
Oh, I bet it does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Amazing.
that's
Well,
awesome.
I just now that I've done my bit, I'm gonna go and watch you guys.
Okay.
Hey,
Yay!
buddy.
Yay,
Thanks for stopping in. Good to hear that voice.
Bye.
That was so good. Did you know that was happening, Jake, or no?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
For the record, none of us did,
We-
except for Jake.
We like to do a gag every once in a while around here.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Let's talk
funny.
a little bit more about our setup today. So Doom and Gloom came up from the idea of we have a pretty packed few weeks coming up ahead of us. Things lead into the Summer Game Fest and Switch 2 launch at the beginning of June pretty quickly. And realistically, we have this show and then 2 more, which are going to dictate the only opportunities that we have as Drop In, Drop Out to talk before Summer Game Fest. So we know that next week, a little preview, a little teaser. Next week is predictions for Summer Game Fest and the Nintendo Switch 2 launch. So we'll be talking about, do you think this game will show up? What do you think will be the game of the show? What do you think is going to be released for like the holiday season? Things of that nature. We got some games prepared. It's going to be a real jolly show. And then the week before Summer Game Fest and the Switch 2 release, because our 3rd episode will be on the day the Switch 2 comes out, we are going to do a retrospective of Nintendo and video game launches, which is really fun. So what we ended up with was a scenario where we wanted to fit 2 topics into one show, and we tried to figure out how do we do that. And the answer is split it down the middle and have 2 different people host it. So I am doing the first half, the Doom section of the show, and we wanted to make sure we cleared the airwaves of any nonsense. So I will be leaving, and Cog will be taking over and hosting the Gloom part of the show, which is a conversation about games that positively affect mental health. And that's in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, which runs all throughout May. And my end of things is a little bit easier than that. I just get to talk about a sweet game that I've been playing, but I wanted to, again, I know that we had like a bit already and Patrick's been here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Doom and Gloom. And what I wanted to ask you guys is that we're going to talk about games that we like a lot tonight, games that have helped us, games that we are enjoying playing the start of in the way of like boomer shooters and Doom, the Dark Ages. But what I really want to know is what theoretical game would make you the most miserable to play? Now, you could say a game like Persona 5 is just the worst idea to me, or I hate doing simulation games. What would be the worst case scenario? What would bring you Doom and Gloom if you had to play this type of game, this genre of game, a sequel to this game, a game in this franchise? For me, let's just say there's a couple different games that come to for me. I really think it might be Baldur's Gate, but Hollow Knight and Undertale definitely come to mind as well.
Okay.
Just the way that those games carry themselves, not my favorite, and the fandoms aren't exactly clawing me in for a good time. Cog, you're a man of very particular tastes. What do you hate?
Man, there's not. You might have to come back to me on this. I'm trying to think of one that like. There's not much that I try out and just absolutely hate because I know my tastes fairly well, and so what I will say, I don't know if this isn't exactly like a type of game or whatever that I can think of, but like I got a code for a demo from Keymailer, and I put the content up and whatever, and like if you ever went back and looked at the video description, it really was like the most bare bones, like, hey, I tried this. Hopefully they can fix some of this stuff before it comes out in full release. Because it was like, I think it was pronounced like Ayasa Shadows of Silence or something like that. And it was like the most janky side scroll sort of like horror, like wanting to be like an indie, like Limbo, Inside type of deal, but like without any of the charm or functionality even. And so like trying to force me to play a game like that where it's just like you're trying to be something but the execution is just not there from like any angle. Again, maybe they'll pull through for the full release because that was an early build. It was a demo. Blah 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 blah. So no hate. Obviously they're indie devs. They don't have the backing that other people do. Like the game to like really trying to do a thing, and just like every angle of the execution is just not doing it.
No bueno.
That's what's miserable to me. That was like I had to force myself to play it because I had to make content for it. I got the code for free, and like at a certain point, I just gave up.
You never have to.
Dropping.
You never have to.
Realness.
Never commit 100%. Tell them if you don't have nothing nice to say, then don't say anything. Is always an option.
True. That's true.
I gotta read some of the responses from chat because there are some really good ones for things that they hate. You'll never guess this, but we've curated a pretty hateful chat. I have
I just read
block coal mines. Just
Patrick.
Yeah.
Heroic Headgear says that Patrick's vote for least favorite game is any game with trees. My least favorite game is it already exists and it's called Death Stranding.
Fuck off.
Civilization franchise, I just can't, which is also so good. Very, very much. I don't think I enjoy any of those games either.
Coal Mines also came back and said Metroidvanias and Souls likes make me. I'm not going to read that out loud. Yeah. Actually, this is the mental health episode. We'll leave that in the chat. You can read it yourself.
Yeah, Metroid.
Kayla, tell me about the games that you loathe.
That I love to hate. Let's see. Once upon a time, I would have told you a JRPG is something that makes me yawn because I haven't, and I know that, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is not a JRPG per se. It is, but in a way it is because of the mechanics, the way the game is. So that's kind of changed my mind. I'm always willing to try really anything. Mm-hmm. If I had to pick something that, if I were to be browsing and saw something that had this category, I probably would actively be like, no. And I would say a deck building type game is typically not something I'm going to enjoy. The one exception to that, which is a stretch, I guess, is Inscription. I did really enjoy. I didn't finish it, but anything where the premise is that you have to collect certain cards and use them in tactical ways are usually not my jam. That's really the only thing I can think of. I honestly like pretty much everything else in some capacity.
That is a very reasonable pick.
Yeah.
Maury, what do you hate?
Dude, I have two answers. I think both I probably equally am. Both.
Sorry.
No, it was great.
Both.
I think I have given. I've given Final Fantasy so many chances. And I think the easiest way for me to suffer is to play a Final Fantasy game, dude. Whatever fucking one you want to pick. Dude, I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I remember growing up when I had my 360, I bought every single Final Fantasy 13 game. I used to draw the characters. That was how cool I thought they looked from a design point of view.
Oh, Wooga. Yeah, cool they looked. Lightning suit.
Yeah, you're a dick. You're a dick.
I bet they looked pretty cool.
These fucking games were so fucking ass. I played 13. I played 14. I've played 7 remake. I've played 16. And I feel like every single time I play a Final Fantasy game at the 3-hour mark, I'm like, dude, to repeat what Coal Mine said earlier, I'm about to throw a toaster in the fucking bathtub. I can't.
Bro.
How do you always have something cute?
I always have the music. It's always for me. No, but my next answer, because I hate Final Fantasy. I genuinely don't think I'll ever enjoy a Final Fantasy game. Is any open world Ubisoft game, specifically the Ghost Recon games. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. It looks so bland. It looks so soulless. I don't know what that game's doing exceptionally. And I know people that like those games, so I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. But I just don't understand what the joy is there. I remember a while back I bought Avatar Frontiers of Pandora because everyone talked about how beautiful it looked. And obviously I like the Avatar movies. Why not? It was $20. It was on sale. Dude, just 3 hours of just grueling, oh my God, free me from the shackles of fucking Avatar fucking Frontiers of Pandora. Jesus, dude. Like they're like, pick up the leaves, pick up some more leaves. Make sure you grab the flowers on the way to the shit. Have a meaningless conversation with 14 people. Oh, it's an open world Ubisoft game. Fucking sucks, dude. Fucking sucks. There's a reason why they're about to get bought the fuck out. They need to be, damn it. And then the one time you make a good game in Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, you shut the studio down, brother. We gotta bury him. Sorry. Can you tell I'm angry?
Can you tell that there is no compromising of our journalistic integrity because Ubisoft is a proud sponsor of this show? I'm so fucking sorry.
I was just playing Star Wars Outlaws DLC.
Oh my god!
Before this.
Oh, I have actual tears.
I have to catch up on chat because our hateful chat is doing so well tonight. I've never seen them so activated live on a topic ever. I mean, insane.
Oh
a lot
God.
of people very happy about Mori's take, first of all, which is crazy. People agreeing with the deck builders and the roguelites, with some exceptions of like Inscription. I really like the answer, anything with a time limit. This one resonates with me. I can't do Majora's Mask. It gave me too much anxiety as a kid. I'm in the same boat for that. I really hate when I am like trying to figure out how to spend my time. I find that Stardew Valley is the most stressful video game that I play.
Whoa.
Stardew Valley, but there's so much that I want to do in so little time to accomplish it all, and I always feel like I'm just trying to min-max, and because of that, I think it's going to be a relaxing time. And then I realize after a little while, it is a absolute fucking nightmare. Finally, a brave answer, says Squanky. Very good. Mori does not like Horizon Zero Dawn.
No.
I love that we have such a wild thing. I see hot take, but any Call of Duty from our brand new follower Ren Marie. We love to see it. Honestly, any Call of Duty, I get it. That's not for everybody. Yeah, that's for sure. All right.
I can't stand by it.
Would say GWT stands for gamer without taste.
God, without taste is very funny.
Wow, bro.
That's so good. That's so good.
Christ.
All right, Jerica, what game brings you doom and gloom?
Destiny 2. Truly.
Wow. I love this.
Nobody hates Destiny 2 like Destiny 2 fans.
Yeah.
I literally thought it was a tie between that and this would have really probably, I don't know how the chat will react, but like, I like Souls games, but I hate Elden Ring. I hate it. I hate Elden Ring. Like, because the world's so inviting and then it just steps on your tits like constantly.
Yes.
I almost said balls, but I don't have any right now. Maybe later.
You stand?
Actually beat a boss in Elden Ring. But no, like first thing that came to my mind was Destiny, because you know I play it so much, and you'd think, oh, Jerica loves it, but if you've ever talked to me or listened to me, I really hate it.
Yeah.
And, like I haven't even been playing it, and I hate it because it's making me miss things. Because like I'm missing out because I just don't have time to play. So I hate it. It's not my fault.
Amazing.
It's not mine. It's Destiny's fault.
I have to jump in here. I mean, I cannot let this go unaddressed. One of the primary ways that me and Jerica have connected outside of shows is that we will talk about our mutual just disgust for Destiny. And like, mind you, I have the Ghosts behind me. Like I bought the Ghost edition. Like I was a diehard Destiny player. And I remember I had this moment, dude, look, Evil Twin. We have all the same statues behind us. I love it.
Yeah,
Bro,
we got a problem.
We do. And we're about to have the same statue behind us again in Doom the Dark Ages Collector's Edition. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, dude,
Segway
like,
king.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm about to segue it all the way. But dude, like I played like Destiny in high school, and I was terrible. All right, like dude, I had like 10 or 15 Destiny shirts that I bought off the official website. There was one shirt that I liked so much that I bought 2 of them, so that one was in the wash. So that when one was in the wash, I had another one to wear to school. Dude,
So cute.
Hey, no coochie. But that's for another conversation on another.
I mean,
Speaking of, your girlfriend was in the chat earlier.
So, long story made short, right? I put like so much time into Destiny 1 all the way up until 2016. And I had this moment, this realization of like, it's so demanding that I don't get to play anything else I want to play. Because Tuesday nights are the weekly reset, and Friday night and Saturday night are my raid nights, but I have to do my raids on all 3 characters, and I have to do this, and I would wake up at like 5 in the morning, right, on Friday to get to Zur so that I could see what he had in the exotics shop. Like, dude, I was in hell, and I stopped playing Destiny for years. And then when I finally did pick up Destiny 2 again, and I got the conditional finality, right, the raid weapon for the last fucking raid, bro, I remember I felt the deepest despair that I felt in a decade, bro.
Oh no.
It ripped through my soul. It was like all of it for what? I'm talking all of it for what? Like, I got on every day and grinded that game for like 30, 40 days straight, playing raids every chance I got. And then you get the drop and you take it into Crucible and you can't 2-tap anybody with it. What was the purpose?
Now imagine doing that and getting that and feeling those emotions, but still doing it to yourself like every week. You know,
You should
that was
be
me
ashamed.
for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
High Score Weekly said post raid clarity.
Bro,
Truly.
For sure.
literally, yes.
But I still feel like shit because I haven't played in weeks, and I haven't even finished the story content. And then there was like a live stream showcasing what's coming in Frontiers, and I don't even know. I don't know what's there because I don't want to watch it because I feel like shit because I haven't played it, so I hate it and I love it.
God.
Amazing.
God.
Incredible.
It's the worst.
Lightsabers apparently is coming.
Yeah.
Oh,
That doesn't
fuck.
make
I'm
any
going to end up
sense.
getting into it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
That
We'll
makes
play
me
it by
mad
ear. We'll
too.
play it by ear.
Amazing.
We will play it by ear. All right. Let's move in to the Doom section of things. We've done Doom and Gloom. Now we're going to get to Doom, and soon we're going to be at Gloom. What a time to be alive. When we initially pitched this, we were going to talk about boomer shooters. But as time went on, we sort of realized that a lot of our experience with Doom can be summed up by basically talking about the trilogy. We have different people that have played all different versions to different extents, which is pretty cool. So I want to just go around the horn. Let's just get some yeses or nos. Have you played Doom 2016? I have. Jordan?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Mori?
Yes.
Jerica? Yes. Hell yeah. All right. So Doom 2016. Anybody have any like thoughts that jump out at them? Does the same hold up to you? Is it was it revolutionary when you played it for the first time? Where were you at on this?
I got like 2 hours deep, I think. And I was like, this is really cool. This is fun. I see the appeal. And then I didn't continue.
Yeah.
It was a me thing. It wasn't, the game was fine. Like, it was fun.
I've played probably 4 or 5 hours, and I really enjoyed it. Something probably came out that took my attention away, but I love, and really part of what made me think of our mental health subject we're going to be talking about later was it makes me feel something to have the music, the intense music, the lighting people up, lighting them up, lighting up the demons, and battling my own at the same time.
Oh,
You know,
Hashtag light up the demons.
Well put.
yeah.
Well put.
incredible.
I was in a similar place to Jordan. I think I only got about 2 hours in, and it's weird. As somebody who, I guess we'll get to Eternal in a minute. I think it's probably the least exciting of the trilogy, but I think it's also like the groundwork that the trilogy builds off of. So it's an amazing starting point, amazing game. Love the 2 hours that I played of it. I don't even think I could have really appreciated it as much as I do now then, but I enjoyed my first 2 hours in Doom 2016. Yeah.
Nice. Jerica, what'd you think?
You know, like just thinking about Doom before, I guess 2016. I didn't really care about it too much. There was like a version that I played on my computer from like 10 or 15 years ago. And I don't know what that was. It was like when they reinvented it again the first time.
I'm thinking probably Doom 3, if I were to guess. Was it pretty like scary? Was it like legitimately like realistic-ish?
Yeah, it was scary. And like you were on Mars, I think, like on a spaceship looking place. So like I, begged my mother to give me that Doom game because it looks scary. And I feel like since then though, like 2016 was a perfect reinvention. I compared that to that whatever came years ago because they sort of touched in similar points, but they sort of merged together to become what we know from old school Doom and bring it into like modern consoles. So I'm always for a reinvention of a franchise. And I think like ever since 2016, like every single game so far has been its new thing. It's in its own category, which to me is exciting. You know, you're not going to get the same game in the next 3 or 4 years.
Hell yeah. Now, I hate to have a brief interruption to our topic to address something else, but I'm seeing in chat live that we have hit our goal for the Halo Jamboree, our first ever community goal as drop in, drop out. And I've been waiting for this moment for quite a while because we're already prepared for it. I've got the date and time ready to go. I was cooking on this one. The date is June 1st. Easy to remember, the first day of June, baby. It is a Sunday night. It should be the most available that anybody is. We can hang out. We're going to get Doritos and Mountain Dew as we should. We are playing with the entire community. All 7 Dido members will be there live. We're playing Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is available on Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass. You can get it on Steam for a couple bucks if it goes on sale. We're going to be playing old custom games. We'll be doing some match-made games. We'll be doing Dido versus the community. 16 players. We'll rotate people in and out if we need to, up to 24. It is going to be a time. So please join us. Figure out how to get to our Twitch, twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod. And we are doing that on June 1st, in addition to all of the other stuff that's going on that week. It kicks off a wild week because that Sunday night leads into the very week where the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out and the Jeff Keighley Big Summer Game Fest event starts. Saturday they have Future Game Show was announced today for the 7th. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up during those days. So very exciting time. So good summary of Doom 2016. Let's talk a little bit about Doom Eternal, which to me was a pretty impressive upgrade. But it changed quite a bit with like the verticality that it added. And for me as like a platform enjoyer, I love my Marios, my run and jumpies. There's a lot to really enjoy from like a platforming perspective in this game. There's some really challenging stuff that pops up. We don't have to go around the horn on this. Is anyone passionate about this one, or did you guys play this and really like it?
I am.
I did
all
not.
At once.
I do not. I haven't played. Surprisingly, I kept meaning to get to it, and I feel like Jerica and I talked about it on JK Games because I think Jerica has played it, if I remember correctly.
Oh yes.
But I have not. And Jerica, for the longest time, I think was trying to convince me to play it, but I would go back.
We're chatting about Eternal.
Yeah.
Eternal, right?
I played all the way through Eternal on stream. The way that this transpired was this was post Concord depression, right? The fuck do I put on? What the fuck do I do? And it's so funny because, you know, Concord gave me a certain like levity to where I could like look at chat and also play the game. I don't know why my dumbass picked fucking Doom Eternal, because holy shit, all you're doing is just locked in. You're this close to the screen trying not to get lit up by some demons. So you're not reading the effing chat. But dude, I played Eternal when it came out. I would have played a lot of the multiplayer specifically when it came out because for whatever reason, I just didn't want to play the campaign at the time. I was like, dude, I want to go into multiplayer, see what that's about, whatever. And I enjoyed the multiplayer quite a bit. But I have finished Doom Eternal. And I mean, it's amazing. And I think I'll talk more about Eternal when we get to Dark Ages. But the ways that it compares and contrasts to Dark Ages in like the way the gameplay is delivered and the way you feel as the Slayer is phenomenal. So I have played Eternal and I loved Eternal. Like Eternal was so fucking great for me. It was something that like, even though I had to focus really intently on the gameplay, it wasn't like I had to be locked into all the cutscenes or all of the conversation because that's not really what Doom's there to present you with. It's not about like this amazing out of the box story, right? It's just like shoot a bunch of fucking demons and it looks awesome and it looks epic. You're having a great fucking time. So
it's a gamey game for sure.
Very. Yes.
I think to your point too, like what made it something I kept going back to instead of being like, oh my God, Doom looks so badass. So I played Animal Crossing. I'm going to go to hell and kill some demons, and then the music, the soundtrack is phenomenal for Eternal.
Oh yeah.
Insanely good. So I listened to that soundtrack when I was going to the gym a little bit more. Maybe I'll get back to that. And that's what I like to listen to when I'm at the gym.
What's a gym?
But
Pokemon
that game did something really cool with it just not being, and I'll be honest, like this is probably the only, I didn't know it's considered a boomer shooter or whatever. This is the only game I've ever played of its kind. I've only played these Doom games. But they do something really cool with the weapons. And like, it isn't just a run and jump and shoot everything. Like you have to be strategic and all the different types of weapons that you have to use.
Yes.
Like you can't just jump in with your shotgun. You're going to run out of ammo. And then you got to use like your rifle because each enemy has a certain type of like weakness and you can exploit that. And yeah, it's just not run and gun. If you run and gun it, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
But that's what made Eternal to me. Like that's what got me hooked. I'm like, oh, I'm not just running around shooting things. Like you have to sort of put some strategy in there. And then the soundtrack coupled with like, when you do figure it out or figure out a badass way to kill like all these demons in this room, like, it's nothing compares to that feeling. So Eternal is still one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
I don't know where it ranks exactly, but it's like, it's up there for me.
Incredible.
Yeah. Really, really cool game. And I did an interesting thing. I talked about this a little bit on Spotlight Games, but I wanted to tell you guys all while we're sitting here what my day looked like on Monday, because the game came out in early access, Doom the Dark Ages, for those who did like either pre-order the deluxe edition, or I did like the Game Pass path to unlocking it early, where I paid $30 fucking for DLC I'll never play to get early access, so I wouldn't be left out of the conversation, because that's the world we're living in these days. And on my way to play that game, which was at 8 p.m., I had some time to kill and I wanted to stream. And I decided to play the intros of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I played like the first hour and a half of both of those games right before playing the first like 2 or 3 hours of Doom the Dark Ages. It was so interesting to really like concentrate on these openings and see how each one differed, because you can definitely tell that this studio is, of course, very fucking talented. But not only that, but iterating in a very extreme way, because the onboarding for each of these games, it's a little tough. Like, this is a very unique game, the way that you kind of like, you kill to heal, you need to keep the action going. It doesn't play like your standard shooter. Like, you're not getting cover at all. You need to be in the mix making things happen. And the messaging on that is just improved, which brings us, of course, to the release of Doom the Dark Ages, which by the time that you're hearing this is available for everybody that's around. If you're on Game Pass, or if you want to buy it, it's a PlayStation game launching the same day as well, which is pretty cool. I fucking love this game.
Yeah.
I fucking love this game. If my calculations are correct here, Jerica and Mori, you guys have put a little time in, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ended up accidentally streaming it last night. It said I was
just
doing a talk show, but I was testing my CPU to see if it died. And the game's so good, I was just going to see if it booted up and worked. I ended up getting sucked into like an hour and a half of it.
That's awesome.
My whole stream said Metal Gear, like I was playing Metal Gear Solid, but it was actually I was playing Doom.
That's
Patrick
amazing.
isn't here. I'll say Metal Gear.
Of course.
Yeah.
Babes and cigarettes. Sorry.
Con.
Maury, you got to play a little bit as well. How far did you get?
I landed at about the same place as Jerica, about that hour and a half mark. I'm through the first 3 missions. What a fucking introduction. Holy shit.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
so
I have so much.
That's what I wanted to talk about, and this is, for me, the coolest part about this game. And the reason that I was like sold on this game, because I don't have a huge experience with those other 2 Doom games. I think Eternal is better than 2016, but this is the one that really sold me. And there's a couple things as to why. Biggest, first and foremost, is the introduction of like set pieces.
Yes, dude.
I am really, really impressed with not only the gameplay variety, but like the visual differences in the environments that you're going through and the things that you're doing in this game. So, Maury, you completed level 3. Jerica, did you complete level 3? Did you get to level 3?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not there yet.
So you've only been on the ground running and gunning, correct?
Hell yeah. I haven't started flying or being big. I don't know what's to come. I just know a few things.
Correct.
Getting
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Getting big. Oh,
It's in the it's in the trailers for sure. It's not a spoiler to say that there are some fucking mechs in this game.
Dude.
And let me tell you.
I'm in. Titanfall is like my favorite thing of all time. So
Oh
Titanfall
my
mentions,
god.
I'll find a way to mention it every episode I'm in.
The way that they handle scale with the mechs is so good. Like how much larger you are, you look down and you see a tank and it looks like an ant. It's like, it's really easy to like kind of pull you out of that moment. And it's like, oh, it kind of just looks like I'm the Slayer. I'm just bigger, but they do such a great job of like giving you perspective of like what the world around you looks like. And it makes you feel gigantic, enormous, unbelievably powerful. And like this power trip that you've already gone on in the first first 2 levels of just being the fucking Slayer. You got this big ass fucking shield, and like, dude, every time this is something I love about Dark Ages is that in Eternal, you know, they described it in their doc. They're like, it's like you're a fighter jet, you know what I mean? You're always trying to get up in the air, you're always trying to get up to that next level. But like in Doom the Dark Ages, like every ledge is an invitation to dive deeper into hell. The way they handle weight in this fucking game, when you jump off a ledge and you feel your body crush into the fucking ground and just obliterate demons within a 100-meter radius, you're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't ever want to go up in the air again. I want to stay locked in. And it's so cool, like the way that it fucking changes. But like, you're going through that in those first opening levels, and then they're like, yeah, we didn't save the mech for the final 2 levels of the game. We're giving it to you off the rip. What a great fucking decision. Like, delivering on the power fantasy. Like, everything about this opening hour and a half was great, because I did it reluctantly. Guys, today at work, I'm sitting there with my coworkers, and I'm like, I don't want to go home and play Doom. I want to play Claire. I want to play Expedition 33, but I'm talking about Doom tonight on the podcast, so I have to play Doom. I have to know what I'm talking about. And somehow this game stole me away and made me believe that there was something greater than Expedition 33 on the horizon. Perhaps a Game of the Year winner. It won't be a Game of the Year winner, but it's really fucking good. Sorry, I was really long-winded there. I love it.
No,
Yeah.
please.
Quite all right.
Oh,
I'm bringing up
who's this guy?
B-roll.
Yeah,
I'm
amazing.
bringing up
stream.
B-roll of my exact stream, but I want to talk a little bit more about the insane power fantasy of getting into this Doomslayer mech, because not only does it make you feel huge and rad, but you can also just look down and like punch a ton of different things, destroy bridges, smash tanks. It is so insane. I'm
enthralled.
Like, I really am feeling like when we get to the end of the year and we talk about not like what our game of the year is, but I'm excited to have some conversations with you guys that are a little bit more like, let's stop talking about game of the year and ranking things, and let's talk about some of like our favorite moments or our favorite characters of the year and things like that. I just feel like this mech section of Doom is going to be on some lists for like coolest moment of the year or like best intro of the year type of thing. It is really, really cool. Like, I had such a fun time playing the first 3 levels, which are honestly really, really like, I think they serve as a really good like jumping in point. If you can hop in for the first time for Doom and get like just shy of like 2 hours into it, will get you through those first 3 levels or so. And there's a total of 22 levels. So this thing feels pretty big too. I think I'm on level 7 or 8 now. So I'm like 5 or 6 hours in. I've got a little bit more time in than the rest of you guys, but it's cool. And that is not the only type of gameplay and level variety that gives you a rad power fantasy as well. Really, really rad. The thing that I'm... Yeah, go, Jerica.
And just like the like I was saying, like each game has been so radically different, and it's not like one can be better than the other. Maybe Eternal could be better than 2016, but like already saying like I could, how could I love anything else but Eternal? Just seeing them implement being able to parry, and just like the amount of shit coming at your face like is totally different from Eternal. And I didn't know if I would like that from watching like the reveals and everything. But as soon as I hopped in, I was like, no, I need, and it worked coming off of Expedition 33, because I've been parrying nonstop to the point where my wrist is literally falling off. It still hurts. It's been hurting for 2 weeks. So like being able to parry and use your shield has been so fucking amazing. I did that for the first time when I was playing last night, and I was just like, oh, like that's the only sound I can make. Just a good It felt so good to time it and just kick the shit out of enemies. Like, I love being on the ground. What did they say? What was the saying with this one? On the ground. That's Call of Duty. Boots on the ground. You
stand and shoot or something like that. You're a tank in this game.
Yeah. Being a tank. I didn't know if I'd like that as much, but nah. Just to know that it goes even deeper than that, and maybe some of those mechanics are implemented in the mech suit. I wonder, because I haven't gotten into the suit, so I don't know how that actually feels. I can't wait. I can't wait to see if there's any more surprises in this game.
It's definitely I see a question in chat where they feel it's breaks to saying I've been loving Dark Ages, but do you guys feel like it's an easier game? I had to put it all the way up to nightmare mode. So for this game, I am very much in the camp of like, and this is, I play almost everything on easy mode. as the old man that I am. However, there are games that I think lend themselves to easy mode more than others. And this, for me, is a game that does so. Like, I don't want to sit there and have like bullet sponge enemies. I want the power fantasy of being the Doomslayer who is one-shotting everything and smashing things out of the way. I feel very passionately about that in Jedi Fallen Order as well. In Jedi Survivor, of like, I shouldn't have to slice a stormtrooper 7 times with my fucking lightsaber. Like, that should be one shot and that guy falls to the ground and crumbles. I'm a fucking Jedi.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to have to smack a fucking toad 35 times for it to die. That's not a euphemism. You fight toads in that game.
You do.
I don't know.
But one of the things,
anybody up smacking that toad right now?
Who up smacking the toad?
Who up smacking the toad right now? Asking the real questions. Let's get some ins in chat. I want to talk about, so we talked about the mech and how like massive that feels, and the most impressive part about the mech is that they take a character that already feels fucking heavy and make it feel even heavier. And that, to me, is what's incredible about this game versus the other 2 games. Is despite Doom being like a big brooding type of like main character type situation with Doomslayer, in the first 2 games, he's pretty fast. He's pretty nimble. You know, you whip around those things for a first-person shooter. Your default look speed is high. You are running and gunning the entire time. You are on the run. This game is slower in general, but also faster than most games that are first-person shooters, yet still has you feel fucking weighty. Like, it makes you feel big. It gives very, like, Gears of War vibes, like Marcus. You know how you, like, when you're playing a Gears of War character and they smash into cover, you know, you feel that like they hit and they smash. And Doomslayer feels like that in this game. Anytime you do fucking anything, like if you take a step, it hits.
Yes, dude.
If you jump, he lands in the power stance and everything gets shockwaved around him. It is the heaviest feeling character, and I mean that in the nicest way, that I've ever played as. I am blown away by Doomslayer and Doom the Dark Ages. Did you guys like that a lot? Did you feel that as well, Jerica and Mori?
Yes, the 100%. Because I think that's like, you know, I played a little bit of Eternal, like I play like every other week, just playing a little bit of Eternal, and just coming.
That's awesome.
Immediately jumping from this over to the Dark Ages, like that was a sort of a, not harsh, but it's just different, and you just got to get used to it. But it didn't feel bad. Like once you just get used to changing your shifting lanes, gears. I feel like I did this last week, and I'm like, what's the saying? You know what you do with cars?
Well, you could do
whatever
both.
you do with the car.
Both.
No, it just feels really good. Like that's all I want to do right now is just keep going back, and I want to play some more. So bad.
Someone in the chat earlier, Coal Mines, did ask if you were someone who struggled with the 2016 Doom and Eternals, would this be different for you? What would you guys say to that?
No, I don't think so. I think the ability to learn the mechanics and like how it plays is very similar. It just depends if you have the patience to, I don't know, like going back to the difficulty question. When I started off, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, this is like way too easy. This feels way too easy." So I went up to like whatever's under the hardest. And then I went back to like Kill Me Nicely. I forget what it's called. It's something silly. So that feels just right now because I'm still learning. I'm still sort of learning like how to move around this world. But I don't know, like it's not. Here's the thing: if I can learn it and have fun, I think anybody can. So, no, I think it's doable. It's not. In my experience, like how I'm feeling so far, doesn't feel any more difficult than Eternal.
I see.
See, I was getting clapped up in Eternal. Like I was getting absolutely like body slammed. And I have found this game for me, and I don't know what it is, but it does feel a little bit easier. And I kind of felt like I needed to put the difficulty up. So if you struggled with Eternal, I would say that Doom the Dark Ages is worth a try. And also, like, don't forget that like everything about this game is amazing. Like from the hour and a half I've played, obviously I have a long way to go. Maybe my opinion will change. We'll find out. But if you want to play it, just put it on the easiest difficulty and just enjoy the power fantasy. Just enjoy the combat. Just enjoy the moment-to-moment gameplay. But to circle back to something like that Jake was saying, just about like the sound in this game, the way that they make you this brooding, just monstrously heavy like individual. It's awesome. And you also talked about Gears of War, and it's so funny, Jake. The first thing that I felt, I think it was in the second mission, when you get your shield saw. And you go and you grab it and you rev it up like it's a lawnmower. I'm like, dude, this is the Lancer from Gears of War. And that was like, that was how iconic it felt to me. I remember being a kid and revving up that Lancer for the first time. And it felt like that. Like it shot through my body. It was awesome. Something else I wanted to talk about is just from a design perspective, how insane all of this is. Like, to like the artists over there, to the people that like did the concepts for this. Holy shit. The way that you've mixed like something that feels so ancient with so much modernity, or like, I guess not modernity, but futurism, and making that all feel seamless, right? Like making these medieval like castles and dragons and all this work with like the makers and the demons. Like, it's such a great pairing of this like ancient evil and this ancient world, but also with this technology and this futurism. Like the way that they pair, it's so much better than it should be. And like, oh my God, I remember shitting myself when the first trailer came out for this game. The cape, the shield, I mean, everything about the Doomslayer. He looks better than he's ever looked in any other game. And I don't know. You said what?
Leave the helmet on.
Yeah, he's not that pretty underneath it. He's not.
Yeah.
Exclamation point depends in the chat for Mori's little incontinence issues there, but we'll get him fixed up. Of course. We take care of
it. Yeah, I think it's happening? A very good thing. Don't worry about it. You just go when you have to. I think what's really impressive with this game, following up on Mori's point of the blending of like futurism and like the past, is that at surface a lot of times looks like it kind of just takes place in like a ancient like fantasy type genre or environment the entire time. But after the first hour, I was impressed with how much space Star Wars ass Star Trekky like crazy stuff is going on. There is like fleets of alien spaceships that are docked. You do take to the skies in this game, which leads to some pretty crazy stuff. I would argue that there are Bungie level skyboxes in this game where things that are happening in the background are fucking insane. There are fights happening with like mechs and massive beasts and demons. There are enemy ships flying around causing a ruckus while you are on a goddamn dragon shooting an automatic machine gun. Like it is so fucking metal. It is so cool, and there's just never a dull moment. And I truly see this. I know this is like a classic JakeTwitchin saying, like he plays the first 3 hours of game, calls it game of the year, and then stops playing it. But this feels like something that's going to make it onto my list at the end of the year. It just feels like a fucking fun romp, and I have a feeling it's not going to overstay. It's welcome. Everything that I'm seeing from the gameplay variety to make it more than just shooting all the time and doing the same stuff, putting you into that mech, putting you on the back of that dragon, doing things that are outside of the norm for a first-person shooter. I think it's going to set this game apart from many. To me, it's far and away the best Doom game out of the three. But that might come down to personal preference, because it's interesting both how similar those games are and how different each one of them are. Cog and Kayla, do you guys have any other questions about the game by any chance? As people that haven't played it, have we sold you?
I actually do. You have sold me. I do have a quick ad that I was going to play before this episode, so I could be prepared, like our sweet GWTMori who got home and immediately played. I was going to be doing that, except my PC, get the world's tiniest violin out, is not powerful enough to play it, because apparently the fidelity on this game is crazy. And my graphics card is not capable at this time, which I did see Bennett UA is playing it on his phone, which is crazy talk. That is insane. Yes.
Everything is an Xbox.
Game Pass
Android.
Use like the Xbox app, like the streaming app, and play on your phone.
I think you just go to a web browser. I'm pretty sure.
For iPhones, yes, web browser. For Androids, there's an actual app, because they play nicer with third party stuff than Apple does, as we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have an iPhone, xbox.com/play, I think is what it is, and you sign into your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, you can play a whole bunch of stuff with touch controls. Otherwise, you can just connect your Xbox controller Bluetooth and play whatever. So yeah,
that's wild.
It's really impressive. I've used that just like on a laptop more often than not and had really good experience. I've had trouble streaming that. It kind of gets tough when you have you're streaming a game to stream to other people. You got a little bit of a too much delay, but for the most part, really, really impressive service. That is like, I feel like when everyone does the like Xbox Live cloud streaming for the first time, Xbox Live, that's a dated term. I'm showing how old I am again.
Oh my gosh!
When you do your first Game Pass core experience of streaming a game is very like, I remember this is like only like a year ago that I tried it for the first time. I was like, oh yeah, this is the fucking future. Like this is absolutely insane. Like I see what Xbox is doing now. The fact that I'm playing like Forza Horizon 5 in perfect graphical fidelity with no processing power on my computer's end with an Xbox controller and having a flawless experience is actually fucking insane. Yeah. Actually fucking insane.
We don't talk about it enough.
It is crazy.
No, we don't.
No.
I don't, the world does not talk about that enough.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
High School Weekly says Jake can't even stream a podcast.
I'm doing well so far.
Shots fired. My actual question was, as the Jordan and I being the resident, does it have a narrative, folks?
Yeah.
Does it have a narrative? Is there a story? Are you actually progressing through the game in a way? Are there cutscenes? Like, what is that? What does the actual narrative look like?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the hell's going on right now. I just know I'm the Doom guy and I'm fucking shit up. But I was like, is there aliens now too? And they got their control in him? What the hell? I didn't know that. I thought I was in the Dark Ages. Oh, this seems futuristic. I see a SWAT team here.
That's so funny.
I'm not really digging deep with that. But yeah, there's a story.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will uncover more as I go.
Incredible.
Friend of the show, Khalif Adams, was Spawn on me. Me and him, I was chatting with him a little bit, but he actually came out and gave some of his initial thoughts. And something that he talked about with the narrative is that this is the deepest that a Doom narrative has gone. That's still not incredibly deep, but the difficulties for the Doomslayer of being this weapon being used by the makers and like wanting to have some autonomy and like where he is set and what he does. So like, there is more of a narrative here than there has been previously, but I think that the through line that most people are saying is just that, you're there to shoot demons and fuck shit up. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And there's a place for that. I was just curious.
Oh,
yeah.
Can we just take a second to appreciate Kayla's impression of me, though? That was great.
Yeah.
Pretty good. The Doom series itself is a little less complicated than it really seems. Like it goes like Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, and then like a completely different timeline, or it's a far future, it's a different iteration. Those things are all Doom Guy and they take place sequentially, and then it goes to Doom Slayer, who's our current character, and the timeline is Doom the Dark Ages, which is a prequel to Doom 2016, and then Doom Eternal, which is the furthest into the future. So it is very much a game that you can jump in on. I'm sure there's some references to Eternal in 2016, which like I said, I didn't get very far into, but I will say that as far as like paying attention to story beats, and again, this is very fresh in my mind because I played the intro to all 3 of the games 2 days ago. I feel like Doom the Dark Ages is a very easy story to like half grasp what's going on. I'm like, oh, that's like some evil king and that's their number one henchman. And then there's like this race of robot people that are kind of in the middle. Yeah. They don't have arms, and that's kind of cool.
Tiny little hands. The big guy's got tiny little hands.
They're so funny. Those are really good. Yeah, they look like oh my god, is it?
It looks like that Pokemon. What is that Pokemon that looks like?
I'm
doing a horrible impression. It was one of the legendaries from like a situation I don't remember.
It looks like a robot kind of.
Is it Deoxys? You know what I'm saying?
They look like a bottle of like Jean Paul Gaultier fucking cologne. You guys know what I'm talking about?
No,
you guys would know. It's like it's just basically like the chest. It's like the chest of a man is the bottle.
Oh yeah,
Deoxys. That's what they look like to me. That Pokemon.
Deoxys. Yeah, Deoxys is a good call. It's like basically like they're just like the bust of a man with no arms, and then their arms just kind of like extend out of it like snakes. It's a nightmare. Very good stuff. More, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, just like one more thing. Something really cool as somebody who like finished Eternal and like loved it. I know Jerica finished it as well, but like I remember as you would go on your ship in Doom Eternal, there was a section of the ship that you could go to and you saw this giant ass mech. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, what's that? When are we gonna see that? Is it in the game?" And it's not. And I love that like there's this delivery now in this game, a prequel, showing you when these mechs would have been used and like how powerful they were. Like I love
Cool.
Dude, it's so cool. And I love that it doesn't like break the immersion for anybody who hasn't played Eternal, but for people that have, like just like the excitement of like, oh my God, I remember looking at this and thinking, when will I use this? And then now I'm using it. It's so great. I think they've done such a good job delivering for like fans who have played the previous titles, and also for newcomers who haven't. Like, I mean, clearly, Jake, you're sitting here and you're like, this is going to be in my list at the end of the year. And you've not been like a diehard Doom guy previous. So it's cool.
No.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Very good stuff.
Let me know for final thoughts.
Yeah.
I didn't want to move on. The HDR sucks in the game. I'm very surprised. HDR sucks ass. What the hell? Get it fixed. Because Eternal like was so optimized. Like that's why I still play it to this day, because I'm still like, oh my God, this is eye candy. HDR is a little messed up for me. I'm playing on an OLED monitor, and I'm having to turn off HDR on PC and Xbox. The game looks better on PC than it does Xbox. I feel like Eternal looked better. I don't know what's going on. If something's wrong on my end. Huh?
When I was streaming, some people were talking a little bit about like the black and white levels. They thought I had HDR enabled because things were looking a little washed out, which will happen sometimes because when streaming, you're not supposed to stream with that on. It affects like the broadcast signal or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And we went all the way back to the menu to try to figure out if we could figure out what was happening. It just kind of seems like it's a little too bright or something like that. So maybe there's some video stuff that's not so optimized.
So better if HDR is off on your system and just adjust the gamma. So
Jerica,
until they fix it.
Our resident picture quality girly.
Yes.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
You can see it on stream. I messed with the last. I was like, this looks a little off. And then I adjusted. I was like, oh, that looks worse. Let me keep HDR off. So
fair. Awesome.
That's it.
All right.
I'm done.
Doom, the Dark Ages, Doom Boomer Shooter. The Doom section of our Doom and Gloom podcast is over, which means it's time for the guy with the big mouth to take off. Whoever that is. And I'm going to hand it over to Cog. But before I do so, I just want to remind everybody listening as I sign my hosting duties over, we are Drop In, Drop Out Pod. You can find us at Drop In, Drop Out Pod across the internet. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, maybe go find us on YouTube. Throw a little thumbs up over there. If you found us on Instagram, open up that Twitter. Shoot us a follow over there. Maybe we tweeted something interesting. We do a lot of things in a lot of places. The best way to find out where you can find each and every one of us and our whole empire of content outside of the Drop In Drop Out podcast is very easily found at dropindropoutpod.com. Cognitive Clips, you ready to make this happen?
Yeah, Dad.
All right. I'm entrusting it to you all.
Wow.
To your own despair. So yeah, as he mentioned at the top, May is Mental Health Month, so we wanted to just kind of take a little, at least part of an episode, and just touch on that a bit as far as it relates to our gaming experiences. And we also wanted to make sure that Jake stayed on mute so that it was an appropriate conversation to be having on the subject. No, he recused himself, which I still find hilarious. But what I wanted to start with, he's still producing from the background here. So Jake, if you could just throw up the, I have a little graph put together. So as anyone may probably will know from watching the Game Awards ceremonies year after year, there actually is a category for what they call Games for Impact. Technically, in 2014, when it first started, it was known as Games for Change, but they switched it to Games for Impact starting in 2015 and onward. But how they describe it as games are nominated for being a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So that's kind of the intent behind those games. And of course, they often do have some sort of tie-in with mental health as well. Again, it says, pro-social. So it could be that it's just, highlighting LGBTQ experiences, or maybe, just highlighting a culture that is not often seen in the gaming sphere, but a lot of them do have to do with mental health. So I wanted to start. So there's a couple things that I noticed looking at the list of all the nominees that have been over the years, which you can see on your screen for video listeners or watchers here, that stuck out to me. But I wanted to just kind of start off, see if there's anything about the nominees or the winners that kind of stood out to you guys, and if not, then that's perfectly fine. Then I'll just throw my questions at you. So, Kayla, why don't you kick us off with that? Did you notice anything in just kind of looking over all the nominees over the years?
I did, and I would say there's a lot of indie representation on this list, which is really great. Yeah. I think that's like a very common, and part of the reason why I love indies so much is a lot of the time they're passion projects, due to the nature of like having to independently develop and publish your own game. There's a lot of like thought and emotion. Not to say that there's not with AAA games, because there is some of those on here. But a lot of these are also narrative driven games, which I think also lends itself well to this category, and is why I like a lot of those types of games, because they typically have a big, meaningful story. But there's a couple that aren't. Like, I definitely think that there are some that would fall into this category that aren't necessarily here, and maybe some other ones that are more action oriented per se. And we'll get into that later, because there are definitely some things that we talked about in our Discord, which you can also find on our website, dropoutpod.com. There's some games that you wouldn't necessarily think are games for impact, or games that can positively affect your mental health, that are more like action, like shoot demons, Doom and Gloom. But yeah, that's the main thing that stuck out to me. A lot of indies and a lot of narrative driven games here.
Yeah. Mori, how about you, bud? Anything else besides what Kayla was just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Kayla said about the indies. This is one of the places where indies really do shine through. I don't know what else I would go with. I think the other thing I would say is that there's a lot of games on this list that I've wanted to play over the years that I haven't, but the ones that I have played, the ones that I'll be chatting about today, really, really did. I mean, make an impact. I mean, right? It's in the title. I was pretty slick there. But no, I'm excited to pick the list apart and talk about some of our highlights from over the years.
Yeah.
How
about you, Jerica?
I'm just curious, like, I didn't really think about this until this second. So I apologize if you're like, well, what would you think? To answer my own question. Don't ask me. Don't let me answer my own question. But now I'm thinking through, like, if this was a category a little bit beyond or before 2014, like, what are some games that maybe could have been on this list that, the situation just wasn't here yet to get nominated for this. So yeah, I sort of thought about that, before 2014. But obviously too, like, the video game landscape was much different between 2000 and 2015 and even before that. So I don't know if you could have a whole lot of games on that list, but I don't know, I have to think about it. Maybe before the end of this, we can think of a few.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to look at, because a lot Game Awards obviously is probably the most well known, at least in like the pop culture, if you want to talk about it that way. But yeah, like the golden joysticks over, I think they may be based in Britain. Like, that's actually been around for like 30 something years. Like, it was like late 80s is when that started. So I did not actually have a chance to look into all of the different award shows and all of that, because that would have been like way too much to just throw into a back half of of one episode of a podcast. But yeah, that was actually the main thing that I kind of noticed looking over as well, was the indies, because unless I'm missing something, guys and gals, I think that the only game that I can really see on this list as a nominee that is what we would traditionally call like a AAA studio is The Last of Us DLC in 2014.
Yeah.
I think you're right, actually.
The first Hellblade game was self-published by Ninja Theory.
Yep.
And the second one, which was nominated, last year, I guess, it was still developed by Ninja Theory. They're technically under the Xbox umbrella, but they published it, but they're still what I would consider, like, if not indie, then at least AA. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call it's high quality. It's AAA quality, but I wouldn't call them a AAA studio necessarily. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think about, that the bigger name studios, the AAA games, are not the ones that are often tackling these topics and these issues. which I don't know what that says.
I mean, I would venture,
not a great look.
Yeah, I would venture to say that, that is interesting. But I do think there's some out there. I think like this is such a solid list, honestly. Even the like we have the winners, of course, but like ones that jump out to me, obviously, like I know I haven't played Celeste, but I know like that one is a big crowd favorite and something like I should definitely look into now that I'm seeing some other ones. I'm a big fan of the Life is Strange games, all of them. You have Neva and you have, is it Grease? I always miss
Grease,
it.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead. Nomada Studio only has 2 games, Grease and Neva, and they both won for the years that they came out. So that's kind of,
I mean, as they should, honestly.
Right,
but yeah,
sure.
Lots of bangers on here I need to get to.
Yeah, 2017 was stacked. Like, as you can see, like if you're looking at the on the stream or in the video version, up through 2021, they only had 5 nominees per category, which I think was pretty standard for all the categories in the Game Awards up to that point. They didn't start bumping up the Game of the Year to 6 until probably 2022. But 2017 had 6 nominees because it was just such a stacked year. And I guess I should read those. I'll at least read the winners. I'm not going to read every single game on the list, but for our audio listeners, just starting in 2014, going through 2024, the winners of this award from the Game Awards were Valiant Hearts: The Great War, the first Life is Strange game, That Dragon Cancer, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Celeste, Grease, Tell Me Why, Life is Strange: True Colors, As Dusk Falls, and Neva. So again, that's a solid list of winners there. I see Citizen Sleeper got a nod, as it very well should, and I expect Citizen Sleeper 2 to get a nod this year because good grief, that hit me in my very soul as I played through it. But yeah, I didn't want to again go through every single nominee, but as far as ones that really stood out for me, as besides just Grease and Neva, because I just love those games so much, definitely the Hellblade games. Again, very apt for Mental Health Month, talking about a game that centers its hero on someone who's experiencing psychosis or schizophrenia, however you want to phrase that, and just the way that not only the way that the game plays, but for anyone who doesn't know, the way that Ninja Theory really, really took the time and the effort to make it as true to life as possible within the confines of a video game space, literally working with organizations, with charities, with mental health experts to make sure like going to people who experience psychosis and presenting it to them and saying, are we doing this in a way that you feel is appropriate, that you feel is representative of your own experiences, to really nail that down and to really, again, make it as true life as they could to inform the player of these experiences without, again, with probably some little bit of leeway here and there, just because it is a video game and trying to fit that into mechanics and, button prompts and whatever else. But just definitely want to shout them out for all the effort that they put into for that representation and how well that stood out.
I am sad that I have not played either one of those games, but I do believe that COG just sold me on it, because I knew the general concept of the Hellblade games, but I have not played either one. Mori or Jerica, have you played Hellblade?
I played the first one and I haven't gotten to the second one yet, even though the trailer announcement for that game, still my favorite trailer announcement of all time, and I feel like such a loser because I haven't played the game yet. But I'm gonna get to it. But yeah, I played the first one, and definitely an experience that I'll never forget, because the way, I mean, obviously, you touched on what the character is sort of experiencing, but the way they utilize sound, like they do sound, they do sound engineering on that, like just amplifies that experience, because you it's sort of like, depending on what kind of mood you're in, you might not want to experience that, but you literally can hear voices in your head, and you're really putting it in the shoes of this lady walking around and trying to find her husband. That's a really bad summary of that game, but I think
it's not inaccurate.
Like they did a lot of like studying. I don't know. They did research on how people with psychosis are affected, to make sure that like
mentioned.
that's getting represented correctly. But yeah, that can be in its own can be an experience that you might not want to participate in. But they do like have trigger warnings and give you a little heads up of what's going on. But I thought it was a really cool experience and added more depth to my experience playing.
Yeah.
Have you played it more?
Yeah, I played the first Hellblade on PlayStation 4, and I was planning on platinuming it. I don't know what happened, but as many of my platinum dreams, they fall apart. And yeah, I remember there were genuine moments where like I was like, oh wow, this is like horrifying. And I mean that like with the most empathy for people who experience psychosis. Like it was very surreal. What they did with the audio design was something I've never experienced in a game prior or since. The way that it completely overtook you, it felt like probably the closest thing that I have in my personal life, obviously, which is radically different, but anxiety, like the way that all of it kind of comes crashing down on you, all these voices, it's just unbelievable. I wanted to play the second one, especially knowing the time to complete. Like when you present me, I hate when people get mad about a 5, 6, 7 hour game. I love a 5, 6, 7 hour game.
Too.
Yeah, I'm so excited to play the Midnight Walk. It's 4 hours. The Order 1886. I have the statue behind me. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it probably clocks in at 7. Like, I really do want to play it. The reason why I haven't at this point is because I don't have a quality headset for my Xbox, and I don't want to do it a disservice. So when I do get that quality headset, that's what I'm going to do first, but I've just not made the investment yet, and I probably need to. So I am a fan of Hellblade 1, and I believe I'd be a fan of Hellblade 2 as well. So
yeah, for anyone who has not played it and what we're talking about with the audio. So what they use is, I believe it's called binaural audio, like AURAL, as in like auditory. So what they do, it's what you're hearing. It's people are like speaking into a like microphone they showed in the documentary. They're speaking to a microphone that's basically in the center of a room. And the way that you hear it, not only is it directional as far as like your left ear or your right ear, but it's also directional as far as like distance. So you'll hear some of the voices that Sinwa is hearing will sound like they're, not only to your left, but also like maybe 15, 20 feet away. That other ones that sound like they're right behind you. And like, again, true to life with psychosis, some of the voices are helpful to you. And some of them are a bit more like, talking down to you, derogatory, however you want to phrase it. When you're in combat, they'll be like, behind you, to your left, things like that. Or they'll be like, she'll never find it. She's doomed. She should just give up. Things like that. Yeah, basically, yes.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a whole other thing that, I would encourage people to, if you're ever curious about this sort of thing, to look into, because I know just in my own education and research that I've done that people's experiences with things like schizophrenia, with psychosis, can vary wildly culture to culture. Like some cultures will generally hear more positive voices and they see it as being spoken to by their ancestors. Whereas in America, not surprisingly, a lot of it is more angry, more violent, more, derogatory, things like that. So very, very interesting to look into how that can play into culturally as well. But yeah, again, there's a really great, I think it's maybe only like 30 minutes or so. It's on YouTube, as Jake was just pulling up a documentary for both of the games, actually, but for the first game especially, where they go into all the research that they did, all the setup for the audio and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Any others that really stood out as far as nominees for you guys over the years?
I'm disappointed Death Stranding's not on this list. I'll say that.
That's true.
Another point. Y'all thought I was kidding.
No.
Death Stranding. It's a big impact. I'm being serious. So I'm glad someone's agreeing with me. Someone in the chat earlier, it was about another. Yeah, there we go. Sirius, I see you. Death Stranding, it's a very divisive game, but also if you pay attention, it's a story about, someone that's really trying to figure out a way to connect again. So it's good.
Yeah.
But we can get to that a little bit later.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't want to oh, sorry. Were you going somewhere?
No, I was just going to, first of all, just agree with Jerica. I also think Disco Elysium belongs on this list.
Yeah.
What year did that come out?
You said what?
What year did Disco Elysium come out?
2020.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It may have been 2019. I think. Oh no, here's my music.
No.
Jake silences himself, but still pulls the strings.
But no, I mean, games that are on the list, though. I mean, the first, I guess I'll only highlight two. I'm going to first highlight Venba.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Kayla, you already
so fucking good.
Dude, like, it's interesting because I like that this category is so broad. You know, you have some games that really do lock in on the mental health aspect. You have some that lock in on what people go through with certain disorders, but then you also have games like Venba, which is this amazing conversation about immigration, what immigrants go through when they come to different countries, all packed inside of a cooking game. And it's about preserving culture, and it's about how far can you assimilate before you lose that which makes you you. And it's this really, really tastefully well done conversation by Visai Games, the creators of Venba. And it's just been a highlight all these years later. When I think about some of my favorite indie games of all time, Venba always comes into my mind. The art style is brilliant. The narrative is deeply moving, and it made me excited to go and try this food. You know what I mean? The first thing I went and did was I found an authentic cuisine so that I could try some of these items that I'd seen, you know, and that takes a lot, like, for me to want to go do that. So Venba just, it had a tremendous impact on me. And I think one that maybe does play a bit more into mental health would be Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer is a game about a young woman, and she's very magical and mystical. I can't remember what her official title is, but she has like a title. She has like a position that she operates out of, but she is essentially, it might be the Spiritfarer.
This is not me talking. I think it might be Spiritfarer because
I think it's yo. Please don't clip it. Holy shit. The Spirit. Where basically, right, you're meeting all these like magical, mystical creatures. They do such a great job of this. Like, they do make it fantastical. So, like, I don't know, there's just more. It gives you enough space from real life to grieve. You know what I mean? Sometimes when it's too human, it's a little too much. But there are all these mystical creatures. You've got like reindeer and frogs and whatever else, and you're building these relationships with them. It's like a management game where you have a boat and you're building out this boat, and you get to put different things. You get to decorate it, and it's a cozy game, Kayla, but it's also like very sad. And you basically are guiding all these people to death. And I think when I played that game, it helped me grieve some people that I'd lost, you know, through these conversations that I didn't get to have, but you're getting to have them in this game. And it's very healing. And so I love Spiritfarer. I think it's extremely slept on. And if I'm being honest, I think it deserved to win in 2020. But that's just my personal opinion. So those are my highlights.
Oh, here he comes. Oh, no. Yes, Jake.
I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I have some genuine additions to your list. I wanted to co-sign a couple of these. Okay. Just real quick. I'll be in and out. Can I have some in and outs in the chat? Before Your Eyes is in my top 20 games of all time.
Dude,
I sing this game's praises all the time. It is about an hour and a half long. It is less than a large pizza would cost you. Please go play it. It is profound video game, and play it with the eye tracking if you can. You control the game through blinking your eyes. It is a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Other stuff that's on like my list is like Life is Strange is big. Chia, I loved the year that came out, like my third favorite game of a few years ago. What Remains of Edith Finch. A couple misses that I think should be on there, both in 2019. Sayonara Wild Hearts. You guys have heard me bring this out before. Really good game about breaking out of depression after a breakup, like a nasty breakup. Incredible video game. Outer Wilds is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but it is
that's a good one. I forgot.
Profound story. It's a profound story about like living. I mean, there's not really like humans, but like living things that make mistakes, and like the human aspect of science, I guess, and technology, as well as like way bigger concepts about like life and evolution and the light years of galaxies that exist or may not exist in our universe. What a time. Couple misses, things that would have been nominated before 2014. I got Journey. Would be
yes.
Easy one. And then Shadow of the Colossus, would that qualify? I feel like it kind of would. That game symbolizes quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think so.
Not
Well
bad.
played.
That's what I got for you.
I love it.
I'll go away now.
Oh, producer Jake Twitch. Oh, bye.
He kept it so cordial. I'm so proud of
It
him.
really did.
So our sweet Jake Twitchin. I was going to co-sign What Remains of Edith Finch. It is also a very short game where you are literally going through a house of all of the rooms that are left behind from people in Edith's family that have passed away, and you're literally playing through their memories. And it is beautiful. I love everything about it. I think it's on Game Pass. If not, it's like probably a couple of dollars. You should definitely play it. That one's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one I feel like I get that one confused with Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. I think that I think I tried the latter, and I downloaded What Remains of Edith Finch because maybe it was like a PlayStation Plus game at some point.
It was.
So I think it's technically. I think I technically own it, but I never actually played it. We know how that goes around here.
Yes, we do. We do.
The backlogs of Doom Eternal.
Literally.
Right.
Yep. We love a word.
JK Games crossover. Yeah. Was there anything else on this list here? Because
I sort of forgot about it till just now. But Florence, I played that on my iPhone, and that was it's a perfect game for people that say, video games are dumb or I can't play a video game. I'm like, you can play this one and you'll definitely feel something from it, because like it's just a coming of age story. Not really coming of age, but you just like two people that are in love and they're young, and I think everybody has been in that at some point in their life, and where you think everything's perfect and then you go through a breakup and all those emotions tied to it. But it's a fun little story, and you can just play it on your phone, and literally anybody can play this game. It was a good story, and the art style is really pretty.
Yeah. I think the most special game that's not your typical kind of game on the list is Undertale. So let me tell you.
Oh God.
I've actually never played it.
Spare me.
I tried. God.
Fucking Christ.
I've actually not played Undertale.
Wow.
I just had to do it because he's in the producer role right now.
You rage baited him well.
I did. Thank you. I had to get him back for him playing whatever that song is, the Midnight at the Smoke Lounge, whatever.
The Disco Elysium song?
Yes.
You're so funny for calling it the Midnight at the Smoke Lounge song. No.
They call it like some time of day at the place.
What it is off the top of my dome. I probably should know what it's called, but I don't.
Yeah.
I love that Jake not only played the audio but also muted Mori at the same time. So funny.
So
all details,
Amazing.
Well, one thing that he did give us that was positive was just some discussion of games that were not on here. As we were kind of building this out, Kayla had brought up maybe like unlikely mental health games, games that maybe wouldn't either just weren't nominated or just you wouldn't think on the surface, maybe seeing a trailer or two would have even touched on these deeper topics, but they actually ended up doing that and we loved it. So in honor of that idea, Kayla, tell us a pick of yours.
So when I was thinking through this as a topic and just an idea, I was thinking that for sure, like something that maybe at the surface doesn't necessarily speak to either mental health awareness disorders that the characters have, or topics that are maybe heavier on the side. But the flip side of that, of what I was thinking, was what's one of those games that you have played that maybe actually doesn't necessarily have a topic of mental health, but was cathartic for you to like play through. And when I think of that, I think of the Black Ops series. And I know that sounds crazy but if you actually, some of the storylines when you are playing those games in particular, I'm a longtime Call of Duty fan. But the absolute like trauma that these characters go through. I mean, it's war, so like there is that obviously, but a lot of the characters, presumably, as you would imagine, have PTSD. And just in general, but what I got out of that experience, I played the first Black Ops during like a really like, dark but formative time of my life where I was like really going through some things, and being able to play it with my brother also, and being able to like have the couch co-op, like just shooting zombies, man, and just training them, creating that train of zombies and just going crazy and getting the absolute most insane weapons is something that I love. A very good like direct to reader per se narrative driven game that has to do with mental health, but there's something about that too, just like turning your brain off, that is also really cathartic at times.
Yeah.
So that's my first one.
Absolutely. Jerica, how about you?
Would it be funny if I said Destiny 2? I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say
It would be funny.
I think the where I get to talk and hang out with my friends aspect of Destiny, I think that is definitely good for my mental health. But sometimes doing certain raids, definitely not. But on another topic, like, or another game that I'm truly thinking about is like Dave the Diver. That's a game that I can jump in and play, and just like literally any stress that I have just dissipates. And the fact that every 15-20 minutes you're able to do something different in that game that's just as engaging. And at the end of the night, you're running and making sushi for a restaurant, and different characters come in, sit down, and you serve them, and they have a storyline that's really interesting. And every single character is like has a very thought out storyline. The game's never ending. I don't know if it has an ending, but God, I've played so much Dave the Diver. Like, I was sitting here thinking about it, like, I guess preparing for this episode, and like, I got to get back to it. Like, I got to keep going. Yeah, it turns into Stardew Valley. Like, you have crops to tend to. There's freaking mini games. But you think this is chaotic, and like maybe this isn't great for my mental health, but it actually is very. You go at your own pace. Like, don't get overwhelmed by the amount of things that this game has. Just go with the flow and swim around. Make some sushi. But this game's so freaking. Man, if I played this game the year it came out, it would have been my game of the year probably. Like, it was my game of the year I started playing it.
It's very wholesome, and very like there's something, I don't know if you feel this way, Jerica, something oddly comforting about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's very much like I could turn this on and like feel better, truly. So I'm glad that you brought this one. And there's DLC coming in December. I forget when it comes out.
They've been dropping DLC like it's going out of style. Like they had one for Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just like like it's like something with the safari or something. I don't know.
Into the Jungle, but I
forget. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
I forget when the date is, but it's a pretty significant DLC drop. I think there's like a lot of story, but yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. This isn't my pick because I'm gonna kick it to Mori here in a second. But like when y'all were talking earlier about just like locking into a shooter and just letting out all your rage.
Yes.
Destiny 2 was that for me on and off over the years for sure. Just like I just want to just sit down and shoot some stuff in the face. How about let's just kick a Destiny series.
It's one of the best. Yeah. I'll say that too. I hate it, but it's also just one of the best first-person shooters.
I mean, we know how Bungie is with the gunplay. They're kind of the undisputed champions of that. So
yeah.
More, what you got for us, man?
Well, I'm going to do a 2 birds with 1 stone pick because I have a feeling that somebody else. Damn it!
I'm kidding. Go ahead. Man.
No, but I do think that there's someone else here that will agree with this pick. Jerica, my friend, my fellow Death Stranding sicko. I think Death Stranding is one of the few games that has most positively impacted my mental state. Like,
wow.
Like at a really low point. I've played a lot of games where it's like, oh, I understand the value of this and I understand what it's trying to say and it's great. But like when you're in a certain like level of despair, there's only certain games that can like kind of get you out of it. And I played Death Stranding 3 times before I beat it. Like I tried 3 times to get it and to understand it. And, when it came out, there were all the jokes about like the new genre, the Strand genre. And, and it was so funny because Kojima is so fucking crazy. And like,
there's babies popping out of your throat,
Dude,
you would think, how is this
you're
good
peeing.
For your, you're peeing on mushrooms. Like, who thinks this is good for your mental health?
Bro, and that's the thing. I'm like, is Kojima a genius? Yeah, but I also think he's a narcissist. And I think sometimes he thinks he's way smarter than he actually is. And so my thought was, this is a product of him thinking he's way smarter than he actually is for my first 3 times. And then I have an experience where essentially I lose most of the people that I've built relationships with over the last however many years of my life. And it is really like a focal point of Death Stranding. Like I'm experiencing it, like the lack of connection, the loss of connection, right? And so I'm sitting in my room pretty much all day, every day, just by myself on my own. Outside of like work, and I finally boot up Death Stranding again, and it's like the Danny DeVito meme where he's like, "Oh, I get it now,"
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sitting there, and it's like, my God, a lot of times I think that when you're talking about mental health, what we need is not to be alleviated, but I think we need to be pushed deeper into what we're feeling. Like,
Yeah.
we need something in our lives to reflect what is going on internally, so that we can feel seen or understood or whatever. And I don't need you to put a pretty bow on everything that makes everything better. I just need to know that my experience is not individual, that it is human, that it's a part of this condition that we're all experiencing, right? And there's nothing quite as isolating as walking around in Death Stranding. And it's also wonderful and beautiful and magnificent, but like, you feel the dire loneliness of walking around in that world. And like, there's all this this counterfeit, you know what I mean? You have all these likes around, you have all these like buildings that other people had made, and it kind of feels like whatever you're going through when you really have lost most of the people in your life, it's like you get the thumbs up, or you get somebody calling you or texting you like, "Hey, hope you're okay," and it feels counterfeit, it feels fake, it feels like a falsified connection. And somehow Kojima manages to show that in this game, all this counterfeit all around you, and you're walking through and you're still alone. Like, and I think I needed that. I think I needed something that was going to reflect that back to me. And so to this day, I have a deep love and appreciation for Death Stranding and Kojima, because I don't think that any piece of art has quite as adequately reflected my own personal internal experience as well as Death Stranding did. Like, just an unbelievable game. Jerica, I would slaughter a small village to know your thoughts. Please tell me.
No, and talking to your point, like I showed a video. We won't have time to share it here. I didn't think I had enough, but there's a really cool, if you go on YouTube, like Kojima Productions, like shares some insight. I think it's, all these big Death Stranding fans sort of come together and like, why do you love this game so much? And if you look at your D story, Kojima Productions, like YouTube, I think they have like a couple episodes, but a lot of these people are just talking about playing through this game after or during 2020, 2021. Oh, yeah. We were all stuck at home, couldn't leave. You had Animal Crossing, you had Doom Eternal, but Death Stranding was like one that either resonated with you really well or made your depression worse. Because you're walking around alone. You can't really get face to face with someone. The main character, Sam Porter Bridges, like has a deathly fear of people touching him, and like can't like experience hugging someone because he's afraid and he's scared. He can't get close to anybody. And as that story progressed, you sort of see that evolution and Sam opening up to people again, and the connection he has with Lou, the baby that you're carrying around. There's actually a connection there between the main character and the baby that you're carrying around. And God, it means so much to me because it's such a weird game, but I love that this weird game has such a, sometimes like it seems like a really sad story, but it forces you to keep pushing. Like, yeah. And the soundtrack itself is also tying into those very lonely moments. And the song itself keeps saying, like, I'll keep coming. Like Low Roar, their contribution to this game is insane. Like the lead singer passed away. I think he died of like pneumonia. So like they were able to work with that band to like remix some music he had made to put in the next game, which I'm so thankful for, because Low Roar, every song they put into this game was so good. But like every lyric matches the environment you're walking through. And that's where Kojima is just clearly a genius, though. Like the way he can match music to an emotion is wild. But yeah, God, and there's so many characters dealing with a lot of other traumas in this world. Do I really know what's still going on in this world? Like 80% there. We know what dooms are, I think. Y'all all know what dooms are. We all have dooms.
Sure.
And glooms. Yeah. But dooms are different levels of doom, like your awareness to BTs. beach things. That probably makes perfect sense. But all that said, yeah, this game will teach you how to reconnect with yourself and others. I'm curious for Death Stranding 2, because the slogan is, should we have connected ... And Kojima likes to talk about current events. So I'm interested to see what the message for this game is and how the puppet fits in Magellan Man. But I'm sure it made me cry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If Magellan Man makes me cry, I'll give Jerica $2,000. That's my promise.
Same here. Well, I guess if it doesn't
somebody
make
can
me cry,
clip that.
If the puppet makes you cry, which I think is more likely than Magellan Man.
I think so.
I need to find an equivalent to the Magellan Man, because the puppet might have a sentimental value to the character. I don't know. We'll think on it. Let's look for another strange object in this game.
Can I just share that I love our chat so much? I'm not going to read what is in there right now, just in case it doesn't want to be like on the audio forever. But like, seriously, you guys are the best. And this is part of why we wanted to bring this into the conversation, because we can talk fun and mental health at the same time. Because like, I seriously would have never, as someone who hasn't played Death Stranding much, I only played maybe a couple hours at best. I would have never known that. And so I think that's so cool that like hearing other people's connections to games that you might not even like necessarily have yourself or really ever have. It's not your genre. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Absolutely.
Games, games are so cool.
And there's so like, I know we a little plug for a past episode. One of the things that we all did, one of our, I wouldn't say early on collaborations. It was last year when we actually began the conversation about doing Dido, actually. We on Spotlight Games, which is on Tuesday evenings, GWTMori. We did an episode where we talked deeply about mental health representation in games. We talked about a lot in that episode. So if you want to go find that, you could probably just search Spotlight Games and then mental health video. But I wanted to share one from the chat before we continue on our loop. And it is from our very own Mr. the Human, Mr. Plays the Human, who is who is in the chat. And Mori, you'll love this one. He said Bloodborne.
Oh,
and
great
yeah.
Great pick.
He said, I play through at least the first arena of that game at least once a year. Central Yarnum?
Yeah.
Yarnum is still the best tutorial area. Oh, wow. Look at Jake Twitchin with the plug. Thank you so much for the video on the screen. It's still one of the best tutorial areas FromSoft have ever done. It teaches you all you need to beat the video game and rewards you for exploring such an intriguing first area that sparks so many questions about the world. Put me in a trance-like state that brings me so much joy. And I think there's really something to that. Like we kind of mentioned earlier, the more like turn your brain off, like mindless, like distract from the world aspect too. So
yeah. So we definitely talked about those in that Spotlight episode. A couple of mine from that discussion being like Breath of the Wild. I think somebody else put this in our Discord was the space game No Man's Sky. Like just kind of being able to just explore endlessly and turn your brain off and just soak in all the sights and that kind of thing. But one I wanted to bring up that was unlikely for me, and not necessarily in that same way, but just that it hit me a lot harder emotionally than I ever would have expected based on anything that I'd seen about it or even like early gameplay, was the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Did any of you play that game?
Dude, holy shit. So fucking good. Oh my God.
Thank you. Like I still,
God.
To this day, I have qualms with like the combat just being like, hold the trigger, let go of the trigger, perfect reload. Hold the trigger, let go of the trigger, perfect.
Yeah.
But like the story and the characters were so good. And like, I know it's a few years old. I still don't want to like necessarily spoil, because like what really hit me hard was like that final stretch. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
like,
dude.
Going into the memories.
Oh,
good grief. I was crying. Like I did not expect to, I cried in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I didn't expect to cry in the game, but just as like a kind of a broad, not too spoilery thing is like the game is dealing a lot with how certain institutions, in this case, it's like, kind of like a religious, cult kind of a gang of people, will kind of prey on vulnerability of people who maybe have lost someone recently, and they kind of just prey on that like need to fill that space that they've just, lost, or into a situation where somebody may be emotionally compromised, so to speak. The evil people do that in spades, and like how that kind of ties into the narrative and the characters and all that kind of stuff really played out in ways that I didn't expect, especially again, like watching the trailer and just see it's got the fun, like James Gunn-esque, banter going on. But somehow they managed to do that without feeling like it was completely ripping off or being like we have Guardians of the Galaxy at home. I didn't really get that vibe at all. They really kind of made the characters their own in this setting, and kudos to all the people for that. And of course, if you know anything about the movies or the characters at all, then you know that Star-Lord lost his mom, somehow, some way, and so that does play into some of his backstory. I believe it happens differently in the game than it did in the movies, but either way, yeah, like just how they kind of played into those memories of like trauma and how fighting through that instead of being taken advantage of by these other people. And like definitely check the game out. I can't remember how I may have just found it on sale at some point or something on Xbox, but I'm not sure if it's on a Game Pass, PlayStation Plus sort of thing or not. But definitely, if you catch a sale, it's worth your time.
It did not have any business being as good as it did.
No.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
I'm really excited that the narrative director from that game is working on the next Mass Effect. Like she's at BioWare.
What the fuck? I did not know that at all.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What a steal for BioWare.
Seriously.
Oh, they need it. They need it.
They do. God, they do.
Back to your point though, like I don't mean to forget about that game, but like you brought that up and I was like, holy shit, you're so right. But yeah, if you haven't played it, that was way better. Like I did not expect that kind of storyline, and the game is really fun to play, but the story's really good.
Yeah. Like that's exactly what I mean. Like it's one that I'm like, oh yeah, that I did play that, and it really did hit me really hard, like a lot harder than I expected it to. With like those character interactions and stuff, it was just like, oh man. Definitely shout out that game. But were there any others that you guys had in mind as far as unlikely?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm chomping at the bit. Yes,
Mori. Yes,
Kayla,
Mori.
you know me so well.
Yeah.
You're over here like
right. No, I mean I had to give Jerica the lob. I mean that was the guarantee.
Yes.
But we know what time it is. This is actually going to be surprisingly as much as the Disco Elysium conversation has become such a bit at Dido, because I have made it such an insufferable bit. Like I love to see it. Yeah, I mean I'm insufferable about Disco Elysium, but like I there's a really serious conversation for me about Disco Elysium, and I always try to boil down what Disco Elysium is, and it's really hard because Disco Elysium is doing a lot of things really well. Disco Elysium is maybe the greatest piece of political commentary ever put in a video game. Like it'd be very hard to argue against that. I mean, the way that it analyzes capitalism, even communism, right? Like the way that it like identifies its goodness, its flaws, its whatever, the way it talks about union and workers' rights. Like, I mean, it is so thorough and excellent, right? But it also has all of these deep undertones where it's talking about like poverty, and it's talking about what happens and when people are products of poverty, and it's also talking about love and like being in love with a woman that never loved you, and like that. Like there's so many things happening, but I think a lot of people really struggle to get down to like what is the central story of Harry Dubois, the main character of Disco Elysium, and I think it's guilt. And I think it's a damn it.
We addressed it in the chat. It got ruined. I'm sorry.
Cigarette smoke.
Y'all need to remember
by.
Jake is like Bloody Mary. You say shit in the chat more than twice, say it 3 times, it's just gonna come in. Turn it off.
I love
music.
I adore that, like that High Score Weekly said he said Disco Elysium like 10 times in 2 sentences and no music. That is a criticism of Jake as our producer. That is
We've made it, folks.
We made it. But I think it's a topic of conversation that is really under discussed or poorly discussed when you talk about mental health, and it is shame. I think it is guilt, right? A quote from Franz, like, and that's the thing. I don't like, and it's so weird because I think so many great stories revolve around this. You know what I mean? Like, let's look at Kratos.
Yeah.
that's his whole journey. Let's look at
True.
Vinland Saga, which is a book, obviously. But yeah, Jordan, yeah.
Just real quick, I won't harp on it too long, but Final Fantasy 16, I think, handles that very, very well, along with other like mental health centric things. But guilt is a big one in 16.
I have to get past hour 3 of 16. Jesus.
You really do. You didn't even get to the good part yet, man.
Bro. And that's the thing. Like, that's really like I find that my favorite pieces of media deal with this because I feel like it's really under discussed. But there's a quote from Franz Kafka, and it says, I am forever chained to myself. That's what I am. And that's what I must try to live with. I think it's like a very ancient problem. Like, I don't think it's like fairly new. And there was this article that I found years ago, maybe not even that long ago, on medium.com from Bran Perkins. And she basically takes down, well, he, they, she, so I will stick with she for the time being, takes a whole approach about guilt in Disco Elysium and talks about it. And this is what she finishes her time with in the article. And I think it's amazing. I am, like I previously said, deeply flawed. I know I've caused hurt. We all have. It's impossible to exist without damaging another. We are little blots of entropy burning away at the edges of each other and given sentience only to feel guilt about that simple fact. Holy shit, she's on fire.
What?
And get ready, she's not done.
Wow.
Which is why we need to know that there are people who, despite having burned away a great deal more than we have, still managed to stay, to turn it around. This is part of what makes Disco Elysium mean so much to me. We're given the ability to take a true dumpster fire of a man, shout out dumpster fire, and turn his life around. It won't be perfect, and certainly not everyone forgives Harry, and not everyone will forgive us. But for those who struggle to find a sense of self-worth enough to turn it all around, the ability to do so for another feels like permission to do so for ourselves. I don't know the answer to the question, is it ever too late for us to be better? I can't answer it for you, just as you can't answer it for me, but I can't help but thank Disco Elysium for giving me the permission to try. Volition, which is one of the voices in your head in the game. This is the final quote. In honor of your will that you kept from falling apart in the face of sheer terror day after day, second by second. I think Disco Elysium gives people permission to believe that they can be better. And I think it's why I love it. I think it's everything because I'm a romantic. I am a political like nerd. You know what I mean? But I think that's set. Oh, Jordan, let me tell you what I was doing for work before I started doing this. But like I think that conversation about like how do we live with being chained to ourselves, you know what I mean? How do we live with the damage that we have caused, undoubtedly? And it's like Harry Dubois gave me permission to believe that I could be more, and it's why I love Disco Elysium. So thank you for giving me my time to rant. But
yes.
yeah. I love.
No, thank you. That was. Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Profound.
Thank you. We try.
Yes.
Really, shout out Bran. I mean, Bran was the one who went hard. 27 followers on Medium. Go follow Bran. The fuck are we doing? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jordan, is it okay if I give a listener submission?
Of course.
Yes, which kind of ties into I'll segue. I mean, it's not my turn, but the High Score Weekly in the chat. Oh, thank you. High Score Weekly in the chat did also say there's something about God games and city builders where you just totally let you enter into a flow state and forget about things going on. Planet Coaster, City Skyline, and recently 2 Point Museum. I'm sure there is some Freudian reason why, like, it makes you feel like you're in total control of your circumstances and don't feel in control of your life. Whatever it is, it works. Instant focus and calm. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do think that's part of the reason why I do love those type of games so much, because it really does let you influence your environment completely. And kind of like, I love the feeling of turning on like setting up your whatever it is, whether it 2 Point Museum is also like a hyper focus of mine too. Like setting up your area, whether it be the museum, the whatever you're doing, the city, and then hitting the fast forward button and just sitting back and watching as all of your things are just doing what they need to do. I love that so much. I think that's perfect.
One I'll recommend to you real quick, as well as High Score Weekly, anybody else who likes those types of games. Age of Wonders.
Ooh, okay.
Planetfall specifically was another one that I kind of got like really sucked into, really lost in that same way. especially I think that was like fairly early on in my depression journey, quote unquote. And yeah, it's so easy to just get lost in that. Like, you're not exploring out in the wild like you would be with like a, Tears of the Kingdom or a No Man's Sky, but just there is something about, sending out your scout and you're like fighting the artifact, and then you're also, producing something over here, and you're trying to fend off and maybe sign a treaty over here, and like yeah, it's a really cool series. I also picked up Age of Wonders 4 a couple years ago, and I don't think I got sucked into it quite as much, but check them out. They're fun. But,
yeah.
Were there any other submissions that you wanted to go over real quick?
Yes. Before we end, I would be remiss to not mention the Dumpster Boy, our sweet Dumpster Boy Cayman, who has been open about his own mental health journey in our Spotlight episode that we mentioned earlier. But some entries that he had were Power Wash Simulator as an unlikely game that you might not consider. This is the type of game that is designed to reset your brain. It perfectly encapsulates the idea that it's not necessary for games to be challenging or to require any sort of skill to enjoy them. The small dopamine hits that come with the completed sections of a cleanup job, but the entire nature of the game is for you to just relax and enjoy. Whether it be shooting the shit with friends while pressure washing a putt-putt golf course or jamming out to your favorite album while cleaning up the Mars rover, there's something instinctively calming about the entire affair. So I do love that, and I do understand that, and I agree about the dopamine hits. I am what they call a fiend for the dopamine, the ADHD deficient brain, where that is something that I crave, and that is also why I put games down quite frequently. And not to go on a whole other spiel about how difficult it can be sometimes to finish games when you are mentally ill. But sometimes that is definitely the case where you might be so excited about a game that you would like to play, but you just can't get over that hump of like whatever it is, whether that be your own self in the way, a lot of things that can factor into that. Yeah, that's we have a lot of submissions. I don't think we have time to go through all of them, but thank you to anyone who submitted, because there's a lot of really great ones. If you're looking for something that maybe you want to scratch that itch of like not direct necessarily mental health topics like some of the others we mentioned earlier that are also equally as great, like Venba, Hellblade, things like that, and you want something more unconventional, take a look at the list.
Yeah. Did you have another one personally, or?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm going to mention Titanfall. I mean, how could I not? Like, I mean, the only other thing that you might expect that I'm not even going to get into, because Jerica and I have a whole podcast talking about The Last of Us and what that means to us. Clickbait. I would mention it, except literally Jerica and I could monologue for days. But Titanfall 2 is an incredible story about grief, and it is. Speaking of the original BT, tell me about BT the Titan. It's incredible. Absolutely phenomenal. You're following, this, obviously it is a story about a man on a mission. There's a war. There's a lot. It's been a while since I played it, actually. Probably need to revisit, but you experience the like soul crushing grief and the connection between like two unlikely, a machine and a man. And I think there's something really valuable in that, in the way that you can find that in unlikely spaces. So absolutely phenomenal game. Got a lot of hate because it was only single player. So, but I loved it. Would recommend it to everyone.
Fantastic stuff. I love that game so much. I like so good. I barely ever actually stream on my own Twitch thing. I like dabbled in it here and there for a bit, but like I had to go back in there a few weeks ago, maybe last month, maybe 2 months ago. Who knows? Time is a flat circle. And because I knew that I was coming up on Effect and Cause, and if you're a knower of the game, then you know why I had to stream that, just so I could record it and have like a video of it, because it's like one of the best single player first person shooter missions of all time.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah.
So
and
cool.
It holds up. It as far as like visually, like it looks amazing, and it definitely cries in not getting a Titanfall 3. And they keep getting hurt.
I mean, rumor has it.
Yeah, I think it got publicly denied. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so. I don't think that did. Maybe some other projects, unless I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Maybe.
My goal this year, though, Kayla, my commitment to you is to beat Titanfall 2 by the end of the year. Like, that's what I want to do. Because like I
so
started it and I was
good.
like, this is good. This is good. And I got pulled into something else. So as soon as I hit a dry patch, because we will hit one, I will hit a I'm bored phase. And I don't want to play anything. And that will hit this spot. So
You won't be bored after that. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
But you might be crying.
Jerica, did you have another one that you wanted to bring
No,
up?
man, I think I wanted to talk about Death Stranding and really make sure people know, don't be afraid of the story. You might not understand it, but there is a lesson to be had from Death Stranding, for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I cannot wait to see what's in the second one. You know?
God.
You know, I want to know where this story is going.
Jerica,
I
I'm
can't
gonna
wait to
be
hear y'all
calling,
talk about it.
bro. I'm
Yeah.
gonna call Jerica hourly when that game comes out.
We're gonna have to, because I'm gonna like, let me make sure I got this right. You know?
Yeah, you and me checking each other's homework. What'd you get?
Yeah. Did you take this away from this moment when the puppet did this? Yeah.
Right.
Jill and Man did this, and
Yeah.
you know.
Or I've been taking photos in the incredible photo mode for like the whole day, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah. You and me are gonna get stuck there for longer than we wanted to. It'll be fun.
God.
Well, almost as on brand as Kayla mentioning Titanfall. No worries, no spoilers from me. The last thing I'm going to bring up for this evening's discussion is Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yes.
Our names are not displayed on the video version right now, but my name is still Pierre Baguette on the in StreamYard. So shameless plug of my video essay about the prologue. Again, it only talks about the prologue, so if you don't worry about spoilers for that. I knew like the premise of the game going into it from all the trailers and whatnot, but I just, for some reason, I did not expect it to go so hard into grief and like the different ways that people experience it, the different ways that it can like shape you for better or for worse, and like the decisions that you make along the way, like just absolutely incredible the way that it does that. And again, I won't spoil anything from the story, but I also appreciated that was not like a front-loaded situation that they just threw you into the prologue and said, "Oh, here, talk to these sad people in fantasy Paris before half of them get turned into dust like Thanos or whatever." It's a through line for the entire story. A lot of the characters that you're talking to and like getting to know better, like it handles it so well, so beautifully. It's so imperfect, like that's like in the human way, like the way that they're dealing with it. It's messy. Like it's not a clean cut kind of oh, it's just like we're just telling a story, so we're gonna make it all work out in clean cut black and white fashion. That like I appreciate that they didn't do that, because that's not how reality works. That's not how grief works in real life. And so the way that they handled it in the game, I thought was just fantastic. And it's something that I will be thinking about and talking about insufferably for years to come.
Add it to the list. Yes. We've got Metroid. We've got
we got Sea of Stars.
And then now we've got Claire Obscure.
Yeah. And don't worry, I was one of the 333 people who did order the art print from the IGN store. So it will, whenever that comes in, that will be on the wall next to my Metroid and next to my Sea of Stars.
As it should be.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight in the chat. Thank you for all my wonderful co-hosts here at Drop In Drop Out for the lovely discussions here, not only on Doom, but also in GLOOM and mental health. Just again, we love to just highlight this sort of thing, because we all have mental health, whether you're having a diagnosis or not. Everybody experiences ups and downs, and bringing awareness to it is something that we like to do, and conversations that should be had at any time, not just in the month of May or in that one day in October that I forget every day. But where can people find all of you lovely friends besides dropinDropoutPod.com and in our Discord? #join the Discord.
Kayla, where can the people find us? You do better at describing where we're from every time. Where are we from, Kayla? Can she hear it?
I lost audio if you guys are talking to me.
Oh
We were.
All right.
no!
Sorry.
All right, let me put my Kayla hat on. You can find me and Kayla and Patrick now every Monday doing clicker bait. I don't know why we said doing. We're talking and we're doing clicker bait. We're talking everything about The Last of Us after the show airs on Sunday nights.
They're clicking bait, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Twitch.tv/JK Games Podcast. You'll find us there on Monday nights. And Kayla doesn't normally look that concerned. She's really excited about doing the show with me and Patrick. She just can't hear. That's why her face looks like that. So there you go.
I see her RGB going on and off on those headphones.
She's rebooting it, but I don't know if it's going to help. If you're looking for myself, you could find me every Tuesday night at Spotlight Games Pod. Me and JakeTwitchin, we're the residency, baby. We're filling in right now for our sweet, sweet dumpster boy and my captain, P. Schwessy, Patrick Schweigert. And we're having a good time over there talking about games news, breaking down the latest and the greatest, all the things that needed to be spotlighted in our industry, spotlit in our industry. That's probably a better terminology.
So I like spotlighted.
Yeah, all the things that need to be spotlighted in our industry. Spotlit. You can find it at Spotlight Games Pod on Twitch and YouTube, and we would love to see you in the chat. So come fuck with us. Come hang out with us.
Come fuck with us. Sorry, I wanted to sing that real bad.
No, you
I'm
had
bad
to. I respect getting that belted out whenever you can, And my YouTube is youtube.com/@cognitive-clips for those video essays and whatever other ramblings I'm doing over there. Who knows? Otherwise, you'll see me here. And one more plug, !tree for Dido versus Tree. Go help our boy Patrick if you can. And if not, then even just sharing it around or, sending him a DM to make fun of him.
In the D, in the DM, if you don't
understand.
No.
And on that note,
thanks for having me.
Thanks again, everybody. Bye.